Good evening, everybody. I'm
Rocking the
Derek
hotel.
Michaud, and it is time to go flush in the pocket. Presented by Brunswick, sponsored by Just in Time Recreation. Check them out at justintimebowl.com. And tonight we got a good one. We had the Mrs. Now we're gonna have the Mister Steve Landry. We had Nicole Landry. Now we're gonna have Steve Landry. He's gonna tell his bowling story and have a little bit of fun and just chit chat for a little bit. And how you doing tonight, Steve?
Doing all right. Down here in Bossier City, Louisiana, doing some bowling center management with the BPAA for Emerald Bowl out of Houston and the Ellis family.
Oh, that's awesome. He decided to take a break from the pool and the hot tub and join us for a bit. Yeah, is the hotel of a pool and
Yeah, I don't touch that stuff. It's I had some bad experiences in the past. I kind of just do my own. At least I got a restaurant here. I can have some food when I'm done.
Hey, there you go, man. I hope I'm not impeding your your dinner time or nothing. All right, so
8 o'clock.
What's that?
It's 8 o'clock where you're at.
Yeah. All right, let me get the questions here. I apologize that I'm not as prepared as I probably should be, but so actually, before we even do that, because I got time to kill, when you and I were talking, you said that you know my name pretty well, and I think that I'm sorry about that, but you're from Connecticut. How'd you hear my name?
Again, born and raised from Connecticut. I've heard a lot of names over the years, especially being, from New England and traveling all around bowling. Nothing ever bad.
No,
and it's fun to learn the backstory.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. How did you get started bowling?
How did I get started bowling? Well, that's a long time ago. I think it was summer of 95 or 96. I was bowling at Lakewood Lanes in Waterbury, Connecticut, Charlie Lanza's joint there. I just happened to be bowling with my dad, and he got a tap on the shoulder from the junior league coach and said, "Hey, your son needs to start bowling." And I started that fall, I believe.
Mm-hmm. So, by the way, we got Tim in the chat. He's a one of my radio connections, a good friend of mine. He's a bowler as well. What's up, buddy? So who coached you?
Well, it started out. Her name is Susan Cajelis. She is now retired and living in Tennessee. She ran the junior league programs there for a long time. And she got me to a point where right before I went into the adult leagues, she was just like, I can only get you so far. So I had her for about 4 years as a coach. And I tell you what, I always tell the story everywhere, even at her speech when she got inducted into the Hall of Fame in Connecticut. I always tell the dime story. After leagues, she used to make us hit dimes on the lanes and couldn't leave until we hit 10 in a row.
Well, there you go. And how long were you there? Like, did you always hit 10 in a row right away, or did it take you a while? No,
I couldn't. It would take me 3 or 4 hours after league before I could even probably get 5 or 6. And eventually she would say that'd be enough. I'm what you call an area bowler. And once I can find an area, I get a little bit comfortable. I'm a little bit better than I was back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, oh my God, I lost everything. No, I didn't. When did you start? When did you start to get really good?
I would probably have to say it probably wasn't until maybe the fall of 2005. Now, I had joined the adult leagues in 2003. I was brought in by a couple of bowlers from Lakewood at the time that I ended up bowling with for a long time. But yeah, coming in from the youth, I wasn't averaging pretty high, maybe 175. So when you kind of get the guys riding your coattails of saying, "Hey, you got a good release, you need to get your butt in gear. And they were beating me to the ground with their scores week in, week out. So I took it upon myself to bowl 7 days a week for about 3 years. And it was about 2005 when I really started to put some things together with, first 300s, first 800s. And then really thought that, I'm good at this. And I put a lot of time and effort into it back then. So, I'd have to say about 2005.
Mm-hmm. So when I had Nicole on, she was telling me how you guys coaching you guys coaching each other can be a bad thing. Guess it could be a good thing, could be a bad, or shouldn't necessarily say that, but sometimes you guys get on each other's nerves or whatever.
It's more of the other way around. Like when I'm working with her on the lanes, she takes everything in stride. I really focus on the game and what she could work on. But when it comes to me, I'm just old school. I'm a little bit thick-headed. I know better, and most of the time I don't. It took me a long time to realize that, I've had a lot of set of eyes over the years, and I just need to respect what she says because she knows what she's talking about. I mean, I can tell you with the layouts in every single bowling ball, whether it be the brands of Brunswick, Storm, Motive, any of the balls, over 5 years with her, I've never had one bad layout. But I love coaching her, and I could be a little thick-headed, but she's always right when it comes down to it. She's always right when it comes down to it, and I'll say it after the fact.
He knows how to stay married. She's always right. What is this is kind of off the sheet? What is the good and the bad of having a bowler be your spouse?
The good thing is, there's a lot of tournaments we can bowl. Again, the bad thing is there's a lot of that disagreement on my side when it comes to things. Mm-hmm. But it's just a competitive nature between both of us. I mean, she's done the women's tour. I've done some tour stops a long time ago. I've thrown myself into some bigger, the Masters and US Open. It's just a competitive nature because even on the golf course, she'll tell you the same thing. I'm the one chucking my club if I get mad or upset, and she's just nilly-willy, just happy to be out there and have fun. So I guess I love the competitive nature between us.
That's awesome. I like it. When did you get exposed to professional bowling? Was it when you were young or more as an adult, or when?
Again, I didn't start bowling till like late 95, early 96, vice versa. My first taste of the professional circuit was probably the Syosset Open in Long Island, and I believe that was 98. Okay. As a treat, we were driven down there and did the Pro-Am, actually. So it was the first time I got to bowl with Pete Weber, Kurt Pylon, and some older names. And that was the taste of it. Just the Pro-Am was so much fun, and meeting those guys. 98 I would say would be the first taste that I got of seeing actual PBA up front outside of watching it on TV.
Does anybody have a misconception of any of the bowlers that you bowled with? Like everybody, will get on Pete Weber for one reason or another. Kurt Pelon, he's a Facebook friend of mine, but never really got a chance to sit down with him. I'd love to on here, but any pros that people say, oh, this guy's this way or whatever, but really they're turning out to be a really solid human being.
I've seen some things happen, and I always go back to some of the tournaments. But for the most part, I've never really had a bad experience with a professional, like face-to-face, having a conversation over the years.
Yeah,
I've seen some things, and I've seen these people change over the years, and especially when I got to meet them in person. So I get it. It's in the heat of the moment. There's always something going on, whether it's kicking a ball return or yelling at somebody from, double jumping on the approaches, which I've seen a few times and gotten yelled at myself because of it. But yeah, it's in the heat of the moment. It's a tournament, and it's just how it goes. But I've never had a bad interaction with anybody face to face.
Who did you or do you look up to when you were trying to get your feet wet in the bowling world? Maybe before you kind of, how much bowling did you watch on TV? Like, who did you look up to, and before you actually got on the circuit?
God, I would always say Tommy Jones has always been my favorite bowler. I know he's a few years older than me. People have always said I've had a similar game to him. I've always idolized his. So I would have to say Tommy Jones. Been a lifelong fan of his. I've met him personally a couple of times, just in passing.
Guy. Yep,
he is a super guy. I mean, I've contacted him before, asking about some layouts a long time ago when I used to be with Ebonite for about 5-6 years on their staff. So having that connection, he donated some jerseys to our university program for our auctions a couple of years before we got. Before the programs got released from the university. And I know you've already been told Parker Bone. Parker Bone he's just the man. Always have been, always will be. And he was my first true friend with a professional bowler as far as that big of a stage.
Yep. Parker is, and he is one of my best friends as well. As a matter of fact, I met him in 2013. And we emailed each other back and forth back in early 2000, whatever. But we lost touch. And then we met in 2013, and super guy. We just became friends. And in 2014, he saw a post of mine on Facebook looking to get on Brunswick staff, and he's like, hey, I see you're trying to get on staff. Why don't you call me and we'll see what we could do? So I called him, and he says, well, I can't put a contract in your hand, but what if I sent you a ball and a few shirts? And I said, oh, okay, no problem. And I mean, he's been nothing but a super guy. He was the first pro that I ever interviewed on this. And after I did interview him, I was like, geez, I gotta find any pro that will be interviewed. If they'll let me do it, I'll definitely do it. And so Parker's a superhuman being.
He's a real superhuman being.
Oh yeah. So you bowled on tour. What was your best moment on the PBA tour?
No, I've never bowled on the tour per se. I've done some. I was always talked out of getting my PBA card.
Out of it,
and I know I know that's a question down the line. That's one of the biggest regrets I have with my bowling career.
Yeah,
I was always talked out of it, and I see both sides as the amateur and the professional. But I did some local tour stops that were nearby. Norwich 10 pin in Norwich, Connecticut. They held a PBA championship where they did the dual pattern. That was my first tournament I really got into to actually bowl against them and see what it took. And I sucked, not gonna lie. It's you can't go to PBA tournaments with house equipment. I will tell you that. That's why the guys are good.
House equipment, really.
Like league, your normal stuff that you have drilled for some houses. You might have one or two balls at work, but the guys are good for a reason, and they have the equipment behind them. And yeah, I mean, hey, I give myself credit for giving it a shot.
Of course,
wasn't afraid to throw myself in the ring, even if I looked crazy. Didn't bother me.
In your bowling life, what was your best tournament performance?
I've had a few. 2016, I think it was December 14th, just before my birthday. I shot 879 in Greater Central Connecticut, going 279, 300, 300, and then that was like my best night. Granted, it was league. I'll never take that back, even with the stubborn 7-pin. Everybody always questioned, well, what if you carried that 7? I'm like, well, then I probably wouldn't have shot the other 2 300s. I mean, I'll take it as it is. Who wouldn't? Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't?
Right.
But it would have to be 2018 Connecticut State Open tournament at Brookfield Lanes, now Strikers of Brookfield. I shot 829 to take the singles title, and I shot 2238, I believe, to edge out Tommy Gillick, who works for Brunswick, no doubt. The all events title that same year, which got me into the Masters in 2019 in Syracuse.
Okay. Wow. See, if I shoot 2,200 in handicap, I might get $30 back, but yeah, that's
you might not get down here and might get like $0 for shooting 2,200.
I'll be on Jimmy Fallon I'll be on Jimmy Fallon's monologue or something like that.
No.
What would you say is your worst tournament performance?
I would. There's a few junior in the juniors would be probably my first JBT, finishing close to dead to last. Adults would probably my first NEBA tournament at Bradley Bowl. I bowled with Mike Lichstein, Larry Lichstein's son, and I shot 299 5-game block.
Wait, 299 4 or 5-game block?
No, like literally sub 100, like a 99 game 2 and a 99 game 4.
No, that's what I meant.
I think I was 350 under. It was ridiculous, but hey, I was nervous. I was bowling, not knowing the lane courtesy and understanding, the one pair and stuff like that. So yeah, and I probably finished in the bottom 5.
Does the NEBA use the PBA lane courtesy?
They did at one point. They've tried a few different things over the years. I remember them going to the PBA and double jump. I don't know what they use now. I'm sure they probably still use 2-lane courtesy or the PBA type. I haven't bowled any NEBA tournaments since 2019 before I left Connecticut.
I would step on everybody unintentionally, of course, because I'm so used to the 1-lane. And I like the 2-lane because, my peripheral, whatever. But I think that would throw me off big time. When did you first sign your first ball contract?
First ball contract. Oh, geez. It was the same year. It was 2013. It's when Radical first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, I didn't know that Parker Bone was the area rep at the time. He had happened to come into Dirk's Competitive Edge Pro Shop inside now Lessard Lanes, the old Laurel Lanes in Plainville, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had just come back from injury, and I was actually bowling left-handed when he signed me to my first initial contract. And when he came back like 4 or 5 months later, he's like, why are you bowling right-handed? And I was like, well, I'm normally right-handed, but I'm bowling left-handed because I had both of my shoulders worked on, and I was only allowed to come back lefty early enough. Mm-hmm. So that was an interesting start. I did 1 year with them. And then I ended up getting asked by Ebonite to join them, and I spent about 5 years with them.
Wow. I'm on the Bullify shirt staff, and it's a dream of mine to be on a ball staff. What is it like to be on a ball staff? What do you do with the equipment so if you're with Radical, now Ebonite, and of course now it's the same family, but back then it wasn't. What do you do with all those bowling balls?
Well, and I think it's still the same today with most companies. As if you want to get rid of stuff, it's you ask for permission and you donate it usually to a high school or the local youth league, as far as to the pro shop to get plugged up and, of course, properly fitted, and then you donate the stuff to the kids. You know, I helped out, and some people will know Tommy Laskow, and I think you know him also.
Think so, yeah.
He used to be the Northeast demo rep for Ebonite at the time, and I bugged him religiously. I was like, "Hey, where do you need help?" You know, I went up and down helping him free of charge, just because I liked being in the bowling industry and whatnot. So I think that's what kind of helped lead to getting a contract. But I just loved it, and I just did it for free because that's what I wanted. And then when I signed the contract with Radical, then Ebonite, you know, they required you to do so many demos a year, trade shows. I had so much fun at trade shows, going up and down, doing demos from like Jersey all the way up to Randolph, Vermont, Valley Bowl up there. And so I did a lot. I was on the road a couple weekends a month. You know, I tried to bowl tournaments when I can. So it was very busy for a long time, and they'll contest to it. So, and I loved it but after 5 years, it was time to kind of back away and just take a break. And, you know, I had another job at the time working for Dick's Sporting Goods, and was trying to get my career in the retail sporting goods type deal there. So, but yeah, it takes a lot of work and dedication if you want to be on staff. And if you're willing and ready, it's good for any young up and comer that if they got the talent and they're willing to work hard at it and promote day in and day out. It's something to look forward to. Not expected, but it's something to look forward to if you ever get your hands on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What would you say were your biggest bowling obstacles in your bowling life?
Obstacles, there's a few. Injuries from not taking care of myself, but I also had extracurricular activities. I used to do BMX. I don't do it anymore. You know, skate parks, trails in the woods. So I was always injuring myself, which took away from some of my career. But obstacles, I would have to say, you know, and this is where we'll talk about this later on, is, you know, I got involved with drinking, and then eventually the drugs got involved with that. So that was probably one of the biggest obstacles.
Yeah. I will say this, if I never say anything to you again for the rest of my life in this hour, I mean, obviously we're going to continue talking, but I'm proud of you, man. I know, you know, I heard from Nicole what, you know, she talked about it, and, you know, I'm glad that we got connected, and I'm proud of what I don't know what it's like to go through what you've gone through, but I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate it. I've been very quiet I've been quiet over the years about it at some aspect, but if you talk to me personally, I'm very open about it. I've been open about it with all my jobs, my friends. It's still something that I deal with to this day as being in recovery, as far as, you know, I'm okay laughing and joking about it, you know, and, you know, cause you learn from it, you move on. I don't mind the alcohol being near me now, where as much as it did before. And, you know, it's been a long road, and the road to recovery is it's always ongoing.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say is the best part about being a bowler so far in your life?
Definitely the people over the years that I've met and become friends with, and I'm sure you can contest to that, and any other bowler that's out there. The places that I've gotten to go, I've never thought I'd leave the state of Connecticut or just New England in general. It's led me all the way over, you know, to Nevada bowling nationals, to Louisiana bowling nationals, Florida, up and down the East Coast. But it's the people and the places and the amazing career that I've been able to grasp onto now later on in my life as far as working in the bowling industry again.
Where would you say, this is off the sheet, where would you say is the easiest place to score that you've bowled, and where's the hardest place to knock them over?
Oh, and I'm sure there's probably some people watching. I would have to say the toughest place to score that I've dealing with now would be the center I work for, Emerald, and I'm not knocking it. The lanes have been in there for a long time. It's just the topography. Any center that's had lanes in there for 15, 20 years, the topography, no matter what you do with the oil, where you change it, the length, the volume, topography plays a big deal. Yep. Low to high. And sometimes the carry can be funky there. And be open about it. I want to make the place better. I want to get, eventually work to get new lanes in there down the road after the remodel that's going on now. Apple Valley in Southington's always been a tough place to bowl there for me. The easiest to score over my career, if I go back and I look at where I've shot my honor scores, would be probably Lessard Lanes in Plainville, Connecticut. And I'm not taking away as it being like super easy. It was just a place where I was always able to get locked in pretty quick.
Yep, I get it. Yeah. All right. What's the worst part about being a bowler in your life?
Spending money on bowling balls, of course, and the injuries. If you're not taking care of yourself, the injuries will be forever ongoing and nagging.
Yeah.
But the money for the sport.
Oh. Do you think it costs more to bowl or to play golf?
Over the long run, I'd probably say golf. For me, I've bought in a couple of sets over I go like every 3 or 4 years buying a new set. Yeah, I'm gonna drop $1,500 on a new set of irons to where, if I'm the average bowler, you can blow that in a year with all the new bowling balls coming out plus the tournaments. So it's give or take. I mean, it could be equal at sometimes.
Yeah. So I want everybody to take away from this, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this tape delayed, because I'm bowlers, and it's my biggest pet peeve. Bowlers are definitely athletes. I don't care if you're bowling in league, but you and you bowl your turn. I mean, you were talking about the injuries. You can't bowl injured and expect to make $40,000, $50,000. Oh, well, I'm up. I'm like 20%. I'm like 80% injured. You're probably not going to cash. It's going to hurt. Bowlers are athletes.
I mean, and yeah, I mean, you look what EJ Tackett's done this year. I mean, I don't know the tournament specifically, but look at the last one. He was bowling all taped up and he was trying to compete, and you could visibly see he was hurting from all the bowling he's done. It finally caught up with him.
Yeah.
But he's
like,
EJ Tackett.
Happy birthday, EJ, by the way.
Yes, it is his birthday. I saw on social media today once I got out of class.
I think he qualified for the PBA 50 tour now. No, I'm just kidding. He's younger than me. Relax. No, I'm sorry. He was a former guest. He's a great guy. But I got a buddy of mine who, teases me all the time. Oh, bowling's not a sport. Bowlers aren't athletes. But he's a big baseball guy. And I'm like, okay, so you have a problem with somebody throwing a bowling ball down a lane, a 60-foot lane, hitting white objects, but swinging a piece of wood, hitting a ball and chasing after it. Yeah, I don't know. Of course they're both sports, but I mean, why diss bowling? I don't understand it. People, bowling is a sport.
He should go talk to Mookie Betts and I believe John Burkett, who's on Storm
Yep.
staff.
John
PBA 50 champ.
Yeah. Played for the Red Sox.
Burkett.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He played for the Red Sox. And yeah, what a guy. So I'd love to sit down with him. That'd be interesting. That'd be a double podcast. That'd be covering his baseball, covering his bowling. Oh, that'd be one hell of a thing to do. What made you say, and I should have asked you if you had a problem with any of these. If you don't want to answer any of these, what made you say enough is enough? I'm going to get out all the chemicals. I'm going to turn my life around. What was your tipping point? What was your rock bottom? Or if there is a rock bottom, because for me, I think rock bottom is dead.
Rock bottom is dead. The first time I had an issue was in 2005. And that's what led to, I'll get into it, future surgery on both of my shoulders. But 2005, I ended up having a PE. I had a blood clot break off in my right shoulder, which caused me to collapse on the bowling approach at Lakewood Lanes. After the third time I collapsed, my grandfather drugged me out of that building, Lakewood Lanes, and brought me to the emergency room, which is where, I found out I had a blood clot, and it was a mess. It was a mess for a while. But that would have to be the most close to rock bottom for me, especially admitting to the family that I had a drug problem. And it did no good to my health whatsoever. So I would have to say that would be one rock bottom. Now I did relapse briefly in 2009, and then in 2019 was the last time. And that time I was married to my ex-wife at the time, and we were at a tournament bowling, and she kind of looked at me funny, and I admitted to her that I had done some stuff. And once we got back to Connecticut from that tournament, I put myself in, as they put it, extensive outreach program. So for like 3 months, I was going 5 days a week, get out of work, go straight to drug rehab as an outpatient in Silvercrest in Middletown, Connecticut. Good facility, at least for me. I mean, really helped me out. And that was the last time. I think it was just after Valentine's Day that I completed the program.
Good for you, man. Congratulations on that. That can't be easy. It's not, man.
I do it now with the support of Nicole now. She has not touched a drink since my last bout just over 2 years ago. So I've been clean and sober from narcotics and alcohol for over 2 years, drugs for going just over 5 years now. So it's pushing forward.
Good for you, man. If I ever have dinner with you guys, I'll either drink Pepsi, Mountain Dew, or water, whatever you guys tell me to drink. But I
drink what you wanted.
I appreciate that. If you could do anything over again, whether on the lanes, off the lanes, or I guess, let's go on the lanes and then let's go off the lanes. What would you do?
On the lanes, I probably wouldn't have drank and started doing drugs, and I would have gave myself a shot at the PBA tour.
Yeah.
I had enough. I didn't feel it at the time, but people saw the talent in me, and I wanted to do the recreational stuff. And if I can go back, I wouldn't have wasted the last 20 years. I would have gave myself a shot out on tour.
Yeah. How old are you, Steve, if you don't mind?
I just turned 40 this past December.
Okay. Yep. All right. Wow. That's great. What kind of bowler are you? You said you look up to Tommy Jones, and you're kind of, do you put your thumb in first and then your fingers, or like he does, or do you do like what?
I don't got that short of a span. And I've had that conversation with him because I'm not going to lie. I tried it a long time ago. I tried that short span and, put the thumb in and fingers, and it just, I couldn't do it. But no, I'm just, just standard to put my fingers in, and then I slowly put my thumb in to make sure it's relaxed and in the right spot. But yeah, I don't do nothing that.
Are you a tape guy or no tape guy?
I used to be a lot of tape.
Yeah.
And then when I got on with Turbo Staff, I was with them for like 7 years almost. And I became a thumb nut. It was like I had one with none, one with one piece, one with two, one with three. I think at the most I had was 4, but I used to have like 8 or 9 at one point, and that could have been from a bad fit too, from a long time ago. But I less tape the better.
I wish I would love to not be able to use it. But I have, of course, thumb slugs and they're rubber, and I don't, I'm afraid my ball is going to slip out of my hand. I don't. Are you an interchangeable thumb guy?
Oh yeah. Like I said, I was with Turbo for about 6-7 years.
Yep.
I left them for a while, and Jerome Panksa and Randy Smith over at Jopo Grips have been supporting me for the last 3 years. Been using their thumbs and now their new grip products that they got. I was able to test those out for a little while, and they're still helping me.
Yeah. Dan McClellan, I'm not sure if you remember him. He bowled on tour for a while. From Canada. He's from Ontario. And Dan?
I've seen him a couple of times, I believe, up at the Green Mountain Open in Rutland, Vermont. There, and when they had what was it? The tournament up in Lake Champlain, the little like 20-lane center up there, was my first time I ever shot 300 etiquette up there. That's when I saw him, because guys from Canada would come down.
Yep. He actually gave me a ball that he used in Portland in 2016 or 2015 or 16. I think it was 16, but anyway, one of those times. And he he gave it to me, and I put my thumb in his thumb, and I'm like, oh, this is big. Oh, okay. He had an interchangeable. Now it's cracked on my windowsill, but I couldn't imagine using an interchangeable. That's hard. I went to a demo. That's hard to use.
Yeah, I remember the first demo I went to was when the one originally came out, and right in front of Tommy Laskow, I ripped the interchangeable right out of the ball.
Oh no. Yeah.
So it was a few years after that before I had the courage to go back to one.
You know what? Did you bowl the Green Mountain Open in 2013?
I believe I did left-handed.
Yeah, I was there.
Either 13 or 14, I bowled left-handed, and it was the only time in about 15 years bowling I actually made money, because I finished second in all events that year, left-handed.
Now, I'm kind of I've been told by a buddy of mine that I have the weirdest style of anybody he's ever seen in his entire life. And my hand kind of goes like this, and or like this or whatever, and instead of this. But I don't know. I just it's weird. I bowled in Rutland 2013. I think it was like second week of April, and they were hard, and I throw it straight, but I felt they were really, really dry, and and a lot of people say that I don't need oil because I throw it so straight, but I like the ball to sit and kind of roll. But it was tough out there. So
yeah, it's always been kind of tough up there, especially what weekends you go, what squads you go, how many people you go. Yeah, like the group I used to go with was Charlie Liskowski from Lakewood. He'd have like 80 people go up, take up a weekend. Chad Allison from Wolcott Lanes had a group, so I was going up twice a year at some point. And I haven't done it, like I said, since probably maybe 16 or 7. I think No, 19 was the last year. Like I said, I was up there. But I don't know. I've seen a lot of scores come from up there at Rutland Bolorama over the last years. A lot more 300s and 800s. So I know, seems like they got a good condition up there, and they're making it player friendly. So yeah, the good guys are going to kill it, and the okay guys are also going to kill it and make money.
I would do it again. I would definitely do that tournament one more time. I like that. I like the fact that you could bowl singles as many times as you want.
Mm-hmm. I actually thought about trying to get Nicole on board, and I got another buddy of mine from Connecticut two of them that now live down in Florida, and I thought about getting our old team back and just flying up there for a weekend and just bowling. It'd be great to go back up to Rutland, especially getting Nicole up into the New England area.
Oh, please do. I'd love to meet her. That'd be awesome. I mean, I live, of course, in Maine, which is about, God, a few hours away from Rutland, but yeah, that'd be awesome if you guys came up. What's your favorite tournament, PBA tournament, as either a fan? I mean, I know you don't bowl on tour, but so I get your favorite.
Oh, my favorite tournament to watch is the Masters. I like the bracket play, and you really gotta work at it, focus at it, and that's not just like regular PBA tournaments. It's just that extra added allure that makes it just mentally harder because it's a major. And watching that, the Tournament of Champions, early 2000s, those would be like my two favorite.
Yeah, I like the Masters as well. I love the match play because it's kind of like, for lack of better words, it's kind of like league bowling on steroids, because you're bowling 3-game set after 3-game set after 3-game set. If you lose, and but no, I like that match play format. I love 3-game total pins for some reason.
It's just anybody can, either going to run away with it early, or your opponent can catch fire when the lanes transition just right for them and pass you out. It's a great format.
What's a tournament that you don't enjoy as much, or like your least favorite PBA tournament?
PBA tournament?
Yeah.
Oof, I don't know. I was looking at more of because all you had on the paper was least favorite tournament.
Okay, go ahead.
Favorite PBA. Well,
any way you want to answer
PBA
this.
I mean, I don't have a least favorite PBA tournament. I'm and the people can bite my heads off, but for me, I bowled in 3 different state tournaments now between Connecticut, Iowa, and Texas, and it's just I'm gonna go, for me, the least. I'll bowl them, but my least favorite has to be some of the state tournaments, and just and I don't want to knock the payouts. Yeah, some of the payouts go extremely far in some divisions, and I don't know. I don't really want to get into the politics. I've been on the Connecticut State Board. I've been on the local board in Iowa, and I just got voted on to the Greater Houston USBC Board. But you can't make changes on your local board to help out.
Right.
And that's my goal. I want to make things better, and it's, even if I don't bowl them, I want to make them better for everybody else. And, Greater Houston is looking to bring back just a scratch tournament in general.
Yeah.
Because they haven't had.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to give you a number. I want you to give me a number. All right. So I won the state tournament in all events in Maine in 2013, and I finished 3rd in singles. How big do you think my check was?
Did the all events give you an entry into into a big tournament?
Nope. Because it was handicapped.
So when I won. Okay. So probably for the scratch side, then maybe most states.
Right. Yep.
Scratch side, but
yep.
handicap.
Like Jimmy Clark has
Andy,
bowled the Masters because of.
yeah, and same with me. That's how I got in 19 because I won the scratch all events title. But handicap division, how many divisions? How many
I don't know. I
divisions
think it
did
was
you
just
have for
scratch and handicap. That's all I knew. Just scratch and
uh,
handicap.
yeah, I want to say close to $1,000 for handicap, maybe. I don't know. I've seen some weird payouts for some.
$160.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow. That's cap.
All right. So that year, it was a entry fee of $74. Okay. Now it's like 80.
Okay,
But
that's it.
yeah. So my singles, God, hold on. Well, my all events win, I think, was 90, and my third place in singles was 70.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's brutal.
a little bit. Oh, you gotta love Maine. I tell you, the Striker X had that thing that commercial where bowling's a dying sport. They had God, they had what is his name? Alex Horton and a few other people. Bowling kind of is a dying sport depending on where you go.
Yeah, I and it's payouts at the local level need to be changed, whether it's state or local. Yeah, all the scratch bowlers are going to complain. Some of the handicap bowlers are going to complain, but I think sometimes they just pay out unaccordingly. I mean, so I bowled the state tournament here in Texas this year. I finished fourth, all right, in the scratch division. Now I'm going to tell you what, there are so many damn good bowlers. My 738 should have not held up for fourth, but it did. Because a lot of guys down here, they do regionals, they travel on out on tour, and some just don't bowl because there's no payouts. Fourth place, I got $128 in the scratch division for singles. For singles.
Yeah. Where
now,
are you guys? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
So they broke the handicap division into like 3 or 4 divisions, and then based on how many people were average wise, they paid 166 spots for like division 3 in handicap, and you got like $8 back. Like, what's the point? What's the point?
Yeah. Where are you guys bowling out of? Are you guys bowling at like Copperfield in Houston or?
No, we are located northeast of Houston in Crosby. We both were bowling in Baytown, which is 20 minutes east of us. We were bowling at Max Bowl in Baytown. And then we were both bowling together in the Emerald All-Stars at Emerald Lanes in Southeast Houston last year. So those are the 2 places we were bowling.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What is a PBA tournament or a tournament? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit that you'd like to see either on the pro level or maybe on the amateur level, like the stuff that we bowl. Like, what kind of tournament format would you like to see?
Tournament format or just a direct
Anything,
tournament in general?
Yeah, tournament in general, really.
I've been a fan of watching the holiday doubles every year. The holiday doubles that they host. And Mike Flanagan does a great job with Inside Bowling. But, watching that, even watching Joe Inglett's, the Giba tournaments, he runs the Ebonite Classic, and I think it's the Ebonite Fall Classic. I've done those a couple of times. You're getting some PBA guys, some regional guys, some the college guys that are now out on tour, like Nate Stubler. He's won it a couple of times. So you're getting some big names at these smaller tournaments when the pros are either off or like in the midst of traveling. But yeah, the holiday doubles is a big one. I'd like to see 1 or 2 more kind of doubles tournaments. I know they just did the trios tournament, which is, I hope, gets better and fantastic. It's the first time they ever ran it. So, you know,
yeah.
But yeah, the holiday doubles would be one of the bigger ones that I know that draws a huge crowd to see.
Yeah. And they do it during a holiday, or is it at a Holiday Lanes or something like that?
I believe they do it during a holiday, or maybe the Holiday Lanes. I've never really paid attention to like the time of the year. I just always see when it comes up. I know this past year it was at Fairview Heights in Illinois. I think at St. Clair Bowl, where McKendree's at. So I don't ever really pay attention to what time it is of the year. I just see when it comes on and I just watch it.
Sure. Also the site of the last telecast on ABC Sports.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So I should send that to you. And so, I mean, that was the very last telecast on ABC Sports Professional Bowling in 1997.
Wow. Yeah.
Pete Weber losing.
I think I just started bowling then.
Oh, there you go. I guess my gripe is I'm bowling at a tournament in Columbus, Ohio, and it's a Northeast Air National Guard tournament. One of the guys that runs it doesn't like when pros enter or whatever, and I'm just like, I kind of wish you wouldn't get punished just for your skill. You might be a pro, but you're still a bowler. If you want to enter, you should be able to enter. But well, I don't know.
People out there that got their PBA cards, and I don't knock them. I mean, some do it, because they attempt to do it, and they use it for the PBA rate, in some centers just to practice. Yeah, I mean, no tournament should lock anybody really out based on skill level. Yes, the pros are going to have that notch above, but
right.
I would love to bowl up against them all the time, and I do see them down in Houston.
I was going to a tournament in Columbus back in 21, and my people that I travel with, they're like, "Hey, do you know of a fourth bowler?" And then I was like, "Well, I got some pro bowling connections in that area. Maybe I'll see if one of them wants to bowl." So she gets on the phone with the guy that he kind of organizes it, and she, "Hey, can pros bowl this event?" And she's like, she tells me, he had kind of a heart attack or whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, So anyway, I found a guy, and we actually won doubles, and we're bowling again this year in Ohio. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't like people being shunned at all.
No.
Yeah. What is all right? So I guess I did this with PBA because, I don't know. I'm assuming you watch a lot of it now or whatever, but I guess we can do this any way you want. PBA rule or bowling rule that you agree with that somebody else may not?
I don't know. I don't know much of the PBA rules. Okay. I just know if you do something wrong and it's agreeable with everybody, you get what you deserve. Right. And that would myself. I know the PBA rule book is very extensive, and I haven't gone through it all. There's like 97 pages of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll look at the other question you have. The one rule I do disagree with is the minimum requirements. They need to go back up. They need to go back to what they were a long time ago, whether it was you averaged 190 or 200 for multiple years on a sport pattern, or, it's even hard to say if you average 230 on a house shot for 2 years, because regardless, the cream of the crop is always going to rise. So, but you're going to have those guys that, like myself, like I was averaging almost 230. Oh, I can do this. And then you go out and you're finishing dead last.
Yeah. I mean,
it's,
if you want to get the experience, what do you average right now?
Again, moving down to Texas this past year, I averaged just under 224 at Emerald. Like I said, it's a little bit of a tougher house shot. And over in Baytown, I think I finished third in the league at 226.
Yeah. Okay. So you averaged 224. So you could probably hang a little bit. But if you want to go, and I'm not saying that you would, but if you want to go get your head kicked in for 18 games, that should be up to you. I agree with you. I don't think there should be exempt. I hated it in 2003-04 because guys like Randy Peterson lost his card. Del Ballard's never been exempt. Randy Peterson in 05, when he lost that tournament of champions, I mean, that I can't imagine bowling for my job if I want to be a pro bowler. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
that's golfers that now they moved it. It's like you got to be top 125, and it used to be top 70 for the tour championship, and now they cut that down, or however they're doing it. But yeah, I think regardless, golfers might have it the worst outside of bowlers, because some bowlers, pro bowlers, how many do you know own pro shops or bowling centers? So they have something back in them where the young guys out there don't have nobody. They're out there living week to week. Not saying that bowlers don't. Trust me.
Right.
All bowlers are week to week.
Right.
But yeah, just for me, it's, I'll probably get ridiculed for it, but I think sometimes the minimum requirement, it needs to go back to where it was. 36 games, averaging 200. I don't know. Beat me over the head, but
that shows you can hang. Because 200, that's hard to. I don't care if it's strike spare. I mean, I average 140, 150. 200 to average 200 for 36 games. That's hard.
Well, yes, and I'm just talking about it as a concept for just getting your PBA card.
Right.
You
deserve it then.
Yeah.
If you want it and you meet the requirement, you deserve it. I don't think the whole exempt thing, I never liked it. Kind of made it interesting, but I really, because I watch bowling kind of weirdly. I look at those guys as my heroes, and I don't worry about what can so and so do for me. I'm like, hey man, I'd love to sit down, have a meal with you or chill with you, and hey, how you doing? Just kind of make them feel a little bit better about themselves, because a lot of people are like, hey, Parker Bone, hey, can you send me a ball and some whatever, and can I have your autograph? Can you sign this, that, and this, that, and whatever? Nah, in 2015, when the pros came to Portland, I got I don't even think I probably got one or two autographs on purpose, because I wanted to build relationships with them. I wanted to build rapport with them. I wanted to, hey, Jason Couch, you want a beer? Low Shutter, you want a drink? Yeah, sure. And do that. Do I need to do that? No. Will I do that? Oh, absolutely. Because that's just, just kind of guy I am. So when I created this podcast, I decided to do a thing called going flush in the pocket, which is 12 strikes. It's a 300 game. When was the last time you bowled 300, Steve?
Actually, just last week in our biggest draft league in the country at Emerald Bowl. It was my last game. Don't ask about the first three, but things happen when they do. And I was able to throw a 300 in Emerald Bowl finally.
Okay. All right. Don't ask about the first three. I'm tempted to, but I won't. What?
I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
It wasn't horrible. I tell you, it wasn't horrible. It was 208, 198, 187, and then 300. Because you bowl two games, and then you move to another pair against another team. So, yeah.
So I will say this: Tom Doherty had it worse than you in 2011. So you're good, man. It's all good. I'm just kidding, Tom.
Yeah, but he also made my career earnings in that tournament, I believe.
Oh, okay. Sure. All right. So what is your favorite food?
Oh, geez. It lately, over the last couple of years, it's been pho, you know, faux noodles and stuff like that. But Hawaiian pizza with pineapple. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes. Yes. If I ever had the chance to have dinner with Gordon Ramsay, I'm sorry, I'm ordering a Hawaiian pizza right in front of him. I eat my pizza two ways, either pepperoni or Hawaiian.
That's how I used to be. Now it's either meat lovers or Hawaiian, one or the other.
Favorite music?
Oh, geez. My playlist is extensive. I mean, there's years where it was straight country, then rock. I listen to a lot of everything, but I've been back in the kick of listening to EDM and techno from overseas.
Sure. All right. That's nothing wrong with that, man. Hopefully you're having this is your first podcast. Hopefully you're having I heard you're going to be on Bowling with the Fef, huh?
I haven't reached out to Andrew yet. It's been pretty busy. I know he's blowing up, but yeah, I'd like to get on his too and chat with him because it was fun meeting him and getting to know him through Nicole and over the years.
He inspired me to do this, and I hope you're having a great time. I hope I'm not being too hard on you.
No, I'd expect a lot harder. I mean, it stinks that I'm on my phone. The hotel computer's not working in here, but nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. What's your favorite time of day?
Sunset.
Yeah.
Working nights, I kind of tend to walk out the door around right when the sun's going down and it's setting over the city. It's pretty nice out there.
You get your phone out and take a picture and.
No, I used to do that. I mean, I love taking photos. Nicole knows that. But when I'm at work, it's kind of, I just mentally look at it, take a deep breath, and I kind of just relax for about the craziness that's about to walk in the door for the rest of the night.
Sure. Oh yeah, because right, you work at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do.
There you go. Favorite vacation spot?
It's Nicole and I really haven't taken like a vacation. For me, it used to be being in the mountains, anywhere there was trails to go hiking. In golf, it's more of like golf, and I hope that Nicole and I can take a good, well worth vacation, and hit the beach and golf. I like golf. We love golf. She likes the beach, so I can compromise.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. Let's see. So, favorite toy as a child?
I didn't really have any toys. I played baseball for a long time, but I would say if you count BMX bike as a toy, yeah, very expensive toy. I liked riding BMX. I loved it. I mean, the freedom of being outdoors, and I would say that.
What are you binge watching right now? I asked her the same thing. I asked you and her got two of the same questions. So with that,
yeah.
What are you binge watching?
It's tough because I get home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and if I start binge watching stuff, I'll be up till the sun comes up. But
I'm proud of you, man. I love it.
But usually, if I miss it, I'll binge watch Gold Rush. I do watch a lot of paranormal shows, so I binge watch old school Ghostbuster or not. Ghost Hunters, Taps from Rhode Island. I binge watch them a lot out of the old school.
Yeah. There you go. What is your favorite weather season?
Fall going into winter, like right around that first snowfall type of year.
Oh.
Born in the wintertime, man. New England, I love it.
Me too, but I was born in February. Oh, shoot. I escape it. I go to Florida in January for a couple months, and man.
Yeah. No.
This time of year, is it? What's that, bud?
I said, no, not Florida. I've been there a couple of times, in the winter time, and it's crazy down in Florida.
Oh yeah.
When the snow
it is
down there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Who's a celebrity you'd most like to meet?
Josh Duhamel. I've always been a fan of his from Vegas. in some of the movies he's done. I have met Christopher Walken when I used to work at the Danbury Fair Mall in Danbury, Connecticut. He used to come over from New York all the time. He was my favorite actor to meet at the time. But yeah, Josh Duhamel, he's a good one. Very low key nowadays, but he'd be the celebrity I'd like to meet.
Okay. If you could be on any reality TV show, what would you be on?
I grew up watching, MTV's The Challenge. So I'd love, if they did it for amateurs, I would do that. I'd break some stuff to go on that show. Or Histories Alone, because I loved to hike and be out in the mountains and like to see what I could do by myself for 60 to 90 days.
How do you think you'd do on Survivor?
I'd probably suck on Survivor. I'd probably make it halfway through.
So I didn't know this about Nicole. I don't know. We were talking about something during the regular questions, and she said something about. No, we were talking about something during the Flush in the Pocket. She says, I hate reality TV. And all of a sudden I ask her, hey, what reality show do you want to be on? And I'm just like, but yeah, that's hilarious. You guys are awesome. If you could have dinner with 3 people, living or past, who would they be?
Let's see. 2 that have passed on would be my mom. She passed last October. My grandfather, he passed away quite a few years back. He was always an inspiration to me. Mm-hmm. And then somebody out of the blue that, Neil deGrasse Tyson, mm-hmm. your personal astrophysicist. I love listening to his podcast and watching him on YouTube. But yeah, those would be my 3.
I'm sorry for your losses, man.
I appreciate it. My grandfather was tough. My mom was even tougher. But things happen for a reason. I got my dad and, so yeah, I think about her every day and I think about them all the time.
She's proud of you, man. What was your first car? Do you remember it?
My dad bought me my first car, $250 from his buddy that ran a junkyard. It was a 1992 white Chevy Corsica.
I'm just BSing. Do you still have it?
Oh God, no. I within a year I pulled that car times and flipped it on the highway.
Oh my God. Yeah. What do you drive now?
Right now I am driving a 2020 Ram 1500 Warlock.
I got to know the color.
Always want black.
Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go.
Always wanted a pickup truck, and Nicole was fortunate enough to know some people that worked at a car dealership, and I wanted to get out of my Nissan Rogue, and so we worked out a deal and got rid of it, and the truck's been a savior down here doing stuff for the house. Can't have a house without a truck.
Oh, yeah. We've been talking for an hour, and we kind of social, been on social media back and forth. I think you're a super guy. When you leave this earth, how do you want to best be remembered?
I looked at that question and I stared at that question for probably a good 45 minutes. And that's a tough one. I've hurt a lot of people. I've hurt myself. I've hurt, family, friends. I've lost a lot of friends because of the stuff I've done in the past. Some people have forgave me. But I never gave up on my life. I never gave up on me. And sometimes I give a lot to all my friends. And I forget about the ones closest to me. I've done a lot for a lot of people and have not done a lot for Nicole, and I'll be the first one to admit that. Mm-hmm. And I try to make up for that every day. But personally, I just want to be remembered that I never gave up on life, and just to keep going and to always do my best or help people get to their best. That's why I love coaching. I don't do it for the money. I do it for the love of the game, for the love of me. It's my passion. Her and I's passion to give back. But basically never given up on life.
Oh man. You listen, man. Thanks for doing this. You're phenomenal. Keep in touch. I mean, you're super. You really are. So hope you had fun. And on the docket, we got AJ Johnson. We'll do that at some point. I mean, we're trying to work it out, but you're an AJ. What do you think of AJ?
Dude, AJ's a beast. I got to see him personally bowl in a couple of tournaments, but yeah, I'm glad he finally won.
Yeah.
He deserves to win more. But he's a beast. He's a beast on the lanes. I feel like, Motive's got some beast people on there. Rev rates, don't give up, very strong-willed. I mean, and that's not to say anywhere across all the brands. Everybody gives it 100%.
Why do you think he has trouble winning? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Why do I think he has trouble winning?
Like over in the States.
I honestly can't answer that question for him. There could be multiples of factors. I mean, it's just the pressure of trying to win. I mean, you make it to TV, you make it to TV, you make it to TV, and it's one shot here, one shot there. I mean, I remember the first time I made a NEBA cut, I was like, oh my Lord. I'm like, oh yeah. I qualified 32nd on the number. Who do I face? Number 1, Alex Aguilar. How do I lose? 300 to 279. I mean, it happens.
Oh.
I was, and I'll always have that go down as one of my greatest defeats in a NEBA tournament is in match play against Alex Aguilar, because he's another phenomenal bowler. There's a lot back east, and I miss bowling out there. I miss everybody out there. And, it's one of these days I'm going to make a trip out for like a month and just try to bowl some tournaments out there that I haven't bowled in a while and just visit and see.
That's awesome, man. Didn't Alex Aguilar take $5,000 away from Chris Barnes and Chris's own challenge, like the Chris Barnes challenge? You ever see any of those matches?
I remember. I think I remember. I remember that one. I do remember more of Patrick Allen coming up from New York and bowling some of the local guys in Waterbury at Lakewood Lanes and bowling a lot of pot games and money games there. And yeah, so, I mean, I've seen a bunch, but yeah, I mean, it's tough to win out on tour.
Yeah.
Anybody will continue. Getting back to your original question, there's a lot of factors for any one person to win out there, but I'm glad he got the monkey off his back.
Absolutely, man. Well, Steve, thank you so much for your time, and I will talk to you soon. Everybody, stay tuned. I don't know when our next one will be, but it'll be soon. All right. Thanks for watching, and have a great night, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Take care, Derek.
All right. You too, bud.